Very good morning, guys. In the last class, we have discussed, we have started the periodic properties, and we have discussed the Z effect as well as atomic radius, the different types of atomic radius. Based on the nature of bonding, we measure the different atomic radius such as covalent radii, anionic radii, metallic radii, van der Waals radii. So with the continuation of this, we will discuss the remaining periodic properties in today's class. The next periodic property is ionization energy. Ionization energy. Simply denote this with IE. What is meant by ionization energy? This is the energy required to remove an electron from the outermost orbital of an isolated gaseous atom. The amount of energy required to remove an electron from the outermost orbital of an isolated gaseous atom is called as ionization energy. What is this? Energy required to remove an electron from outermost orbital of an isolated gaseous atom is called as ionization energy. What is meant by isolated? Isolated means on that atom there should not be any intermolecular forces of attraction, so it needs to be separated from the rest of the atoms and it has to be in the gaseous state. So generally here, because why we require energy to remove an electron? Because electron will be under the influence of nucleus. If you want to remove an electron from the outermost shell of an orbital of an atom, you need to supply some energy. That minimum amount of energy which we need to supply to remove an electron is called as, just to remove an electron is called as ionization energy. It can be represented in the form, suppose if this is an isolated gaseous atom you are assuming, and when you are removing an electron, what happens? The number of protons remaining constant and you are removing an electron from the valence shell, and what happens? It will be no longer neutral, it gets a positive charge. It will become univalent positively charged ion, right? Along with the electron will be given. So here generally the heat changes of a reaction are represented with delta H. Here as you are giving the energy, it will be generally positive. Here delta H. What is delta H? It is heat of reaction. What is this denotes? If delta H is positive, it indicates the absorption of energy in the process. If it is negative, it indicates the release of energy in the process. Energy will be given or taken in the form of heat. So here ionization energy is generally expressed in electron volts per atom, or it can also be expressed kilojoules per mole, or it also expressed kilocalories per mole. Right? These are the units in which ionization energy is expressed. Successive ionization energies. Let us see what is meant by successive ionization energy. Suppose if you are removing one electron from an isolated gaseous atom, it will form a unipositive ion. This is called ionization energy. 1. If you are removing one more electron from this unipositively charged ion, it will form divalent positive ion with the liberation of an electron, right? This process we call, the amount of energy utilized in this process will be called as ionization energy 2. from this bivalent positive ion, if you are removing one more electron, it will become trivalent positive ion. The electron is given. The amount of energy utilized in this process will be called as ionization 3. These are called as successive ionization energies. If you are talking with respect to an element, right, the amount of energy utilized to remove first electron will be called as ionization energy 1. From that unipositive ion, if you are removing one more electron, the amount of energy utilized in this process will be called as ionization energy 2. And if you are removing one more ion from this plus 2 ion, in order to convert it to plus 3, the energy utilized will be called as ionization energy 3. Always remember that for a given element, successive ionization energy always increases. That means ionization energy 1 is less than ionization energy 2, which is less than ionization energy 3. Why? Suppose if you see here, it is already having a positive charge. That means as you keep on removing the electrons, nuclear force of attraction increases. When the nuclear force of attraction increases, the valence electrons are strongly pulled towards the nucleus. In that cases, you need to expend more energy. Here there is a positive charge. That means if you want to try to remove an electron from this positive charge, there is a lot of nuclear force of attraction on the valence electron. You need to overcome the nuclear force of attraction to remove the electron. Because of that reason, successive ionization energy always increases. Now, this is about the successive ionization energy. Now, if you are talking about the factors affecting ionization energy, let's see what are the factors that can affect the ionization energy. The first factor we can say size of atom. Ionization energy is inversely proportional to size of the atom. What is meant by this? As the size of the atom increases, if the size increases, what happens? Ionization energy decreases. Why? If the size is increasing, extent of nuclear force of attraction on the valence shell decreases, so that electron can be easily withdrawn. In that cases, you need to spend less amount of energy. If the size decreases, ionization energy increases. What is the reason for this? If the size decreases, nuclear force of attraction on the valence shell will be more. In that cases, you need to spend more amount of energy. Right? This is the first factor. And second factor, if you are talking about, that is Z effect, effective nuclear charge. Effective nuclear charge also influences the ionization energy. Ionization energy will be directly proportional to Z effect. You know what is meant by effective nuclear charge? It is the actual nuclear force of attraction experienced by the testing electron or differentiating electron. If the nuclear force of attraction on the valence electron increases, what happens? Ionization energy also increases. And the third factor we can see, this is penetration power of orbital. It also depends upon the orbital from which we are removing the electrons. As we know, there are different types of orbitals: s orbital, p orbital, d orbital, f orbital. In the valence shell, electron will be present in s orbital, p orbital, d orbital, or f orbital. Now, if you are removing the electron from s orbital, it requires more amount of energy when you compare with the p orbital, d orbital, and f orbital. Why? Because of the shape of the orbital. Shape of the orbital will also influences the ionization energy. As we know, s orbital is spherically symmetrical. It will be under more nuclear force of attraction. When you are removing the electron from the s orbital, you need to spend more amount of energy. This is called as penetration power. The penetration power decreases from left to right. That means here the electron in the s orbital requires more amount of energy when compared with the p, and the electron in the p will requires more amount of energy when you compare with the d, and less amount of energy when you compare with s. This is also one of the factors. What we can say? And left to right, what happens? The ionization energy decreases. This is called penetration power. Right? Now the next factor, if you are seeing, electronic configuration. What is the next factor we can say? Electronic configuration. Electronic configuration also one of the factors which influences the ionization energy. Generally, half are fully filled electronic configurations are more stable. What is mean by half filled or fully filled? Suppose if you have taken P3, D5, F6, F7, these are exactly half filled. What is mean by fully filled? P6, you can also take S2 also. S2, P6, D10, F4. These are fully filled configuration, these are half filled configuration. Generally we know that half filled and fully filled configurations are more stable. When you are trying to remove an electron from the half filled or fully filled orbitals, it requires more amount of energy when you compare with the incompletely filled configurations. These are the four factors which influences the ionization reaction. Good is clear. If you want to make a note of this, you can take a screenshot. Now let us see variation of ionization energy. Variation of ionization energy in groups and periods. If you are talking in periods, how this varies is generally left to right in periods. In periods, what happens? Z effect increases. If the Z effect increases, what happens? Ionization energy increases. Are you getting this? Left to right, atomic size decreases, Z effect increases, so that ionization energy increases. Suppose if you are talking about the second period, what are the elements of second period? Lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. Here, generally what it has expected, left to right continuously, it has to increase. But there are some exceptions. In case of beryllium and boron, in case of nitrogen and oxygen, there are exceptions. And remember one thing, in every period, nobilious elements are having highest ionization energy because of their stable, completely filled octet configuration. Now, if you are talking about the increasing order of ionization energy in second period, it will be lithium followed by boron followed by beryllium. Here we have an exception, and followed by carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine, and neon. What are the exceptions here? We have two exceptions here. One in case of oxygen and nitrogen, one in case of boron and beryllium. Why so? If you are looking at the electronic configuration of beryllium, this is outermost valency, this is 2s2, and what is this? 2s2 and 2p, 1s. Here this is s orbital is completely empty, and there is a one electron in the p orbital. Removal of this one electron in the p orbital is easy when you compare with the removal of completely filled s orbital. Because of that reason, the ionization energy of beryllium is more than the boron. And we are talking in case of nitrogen and oxygen. What is the valence electronic configuration of nitrogen? This will be 2s2, 2p3, this is 2s2, 2p4. Here also same. If you look at here p orbital is exactly half filled, and here it is neither half filled or fully filled. And we know that generally half filled configurations are more stable, as we just discussed. So because of that reason, the ionization energy, the first ionization energy of nitrogen is greater than, this is only applicable for first ionization energy. If you are talking about the second ionization energy of these two, that will be reverse. Second ionization energy of oxygen will be more than nitrogen. Why? After first ionization energy, the configuration of oxygen will become 2s2 2p3, which p orbital comes to be after the removal of one electron, the configuration of nitrogen becomes 2s2 2p2. This is no longer half filled. This is a very important example where you can get a question objective. The first ionization energy of nitrogen is greater than oxygen, whereas the second ionization energy of nitrogen is less than the oxygen. Right? Hope it is clear. So this is the case. And if you are talking about the third period, the same thing is observed. I am writing the directly increasing order of the third period. That is sodium followed by aluminium followed by magnesium followed by what is this? Silicon followed by sulfur followed by phosphorus, chlorine and argon. Where is the exception? In case of aluminium, magnesium, in case of sulfur, phosphorus. Generally, magnesium is expected to be have less than the aluminium, but it is found to be greater than aluminium. The same way, phosphorus is expected to have the less ionization energy than the sulfur, but found to have the more than sulfur. The same reason, half filled and completely filled configuration. This is in case of what is this? In case of period shapes. If you are talking about the groups, variation of ionization energy in groups, or top to bottom in groups, what happens? Size increases. If the size increases, what happens to the ionization energy? Ionization energy will be inversely proportional to the size. So that ionization has to be what? It has to decrease. Right? This is the variation in case of groups. Right? Now, if you are talking about the exception in case of groups, you can give in 13 groups. That is, top to down what we should observe. That is in case of boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, cadmium. Generally, what happens? If you see, there is an exception in case of gallium and aluminium. The ionization energy of gallium is greater than aluminium. This is the one of the exception. This is because of transition contraction. Right? This is a variation of ionization energy in periods as well as groups. Then we have one or two exceptional cases which you need to remember. That it is clear. And one more thing is that the element that is having highest ionization energy is helium and helium. In the entire periodic table, helium is the element that has the highest ionization energy, and whereas the lowest will be found to be cesium. Helium and cesium are highest and lowest ionization elements in the periodic table. This is about the ionization energy. We will move to the next periodic property, that is electron gain and loss. The next periodic property is electron gain and loss. It is also called electron affinity. What do you call it as? Electron affinity. Generally represented with E. How we can define this? This is the energy change that occurs in the process when an electron is added to the valence shell of an isolated gaseous cell. Energy changes associated in the process when an electron is added to valence shell of an isolated gaseous cell. It is denoted with E. It can be represented. We are adding an electron to isolated gaseous cell. It will become A minus. This is called here delta H can be either positive or negative. Here also it will be expressed in the same manner. That is, it can be expressed electron per atom or kilojoules per mole or kilocalories per mole. The units will be same. If you are talking about successive electron affinities, will be highly endothermic. If you want to add one more electron to this uninegative ion, it will be very difficult process and it requires a lot of energy because there will be a lot of interelectronic repulsions, which we call it as EAP. It will be highly positive. If you are talking about factors affecting electron affinity, the first factor we can say size of atom. Here electron affinity will be inversely proportional to the size. Right? Second factor we can see effective nuclear charge. Electron affinity will be directly proportional to electron affinity. And the third factor we can see electronic configuration. Electronic configuration. Here, generally, exactly off-field or fully filled orbital will resist to accept the electron, because what happens, the stability that they attain due to this off-field or fully filled configuration will be removed if you are adding an electron, so that in that case generally there will be resistance from the valence electron to adding the electron, right? These are the three factors that will influence the electron affinity of a element. If you are talking about the trends in periods as well as groups, in periods we say left to right. Left to right, what happens? Generally, left to right, when you are going, Z effect increases. So, as the Z effect increases, what happens? Electron affinity increases. Electron affinity increases in the sense it becomes more negative. Right? Here also there are some exceptions. If you are talking about generally, the electron affinity of nucleuses will be highly positive because of their stable electronic configuration. There is an exception in case of, if you are talking about the electron affinity of boron will be greater than beryllium. In the same way, electron affinity of oxygen will be greater than, what is this? This will be greater than, let me write the order, right? If you are talking about the increasing order, lithium followed by beryllium followed by boron, right, followed by, it will come nitrogen followed by carbon followed by oxygen followed by fluorine. And these nucleic acids will be highly positive here they come. Then what happens? Left to right, electron negativity will become more negative, more and more negative. The amount of energy released will increases. If you are talking in case of groups, top to down in a group, what happens? Top to bottom in a group, what happens? Size increases. Size increases so that electron affinity becomes more positive. Less negative, or we say less negative becomes less negative. That means decreases. This is a trend also. And in the groups, one important thing to be noted on this is that in second and third period elements, suppose we are talking about the element that is having highest electron affinity in the periodic table is chlorine. Down the group, electron affinity should be decreased. Suppose if we are talking about the group 17, what are the elements? Chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc. And what is expected? Left to right, electron affinity should decrease. But actually, the observed order is that if you are talking about the decreasing order, electron affinity of chlorine is greater than fluorine, bromine, and iodine. Why such an exception is there? See, because of the smaller size of the fluorine, and already there are 5 electrons in the valency. When you are trying to add one more electron, even though fluorine is more electronegative atom in the periodic table, its electron affinity is less than the chlorine. You need to understand this. Because of the smaller size, when you are trying to add one more electron to the valency, there is certain inter-electronic repulsions by which the electron affinity of the fluorine will becomes less than the chlorine. So this is an important exception. By this what happens? Chlorine is the element of the periodic table that is having the highest electron affinity. The same thing is observed in case of sulfur and oxygen and phosphorus and nitrogen. That means generally these are third period elements in their respective group. This is group 17, this is group 16, this is group 15. In group 16, 17, group 17, 16, 15, third period elements are having higher electron affinity than the second period elements because of their smaller size. The second period elements electron affinity is less than the third period elements. Right? This is about the electron affinity, and hope the exceptions are clear. Right? And we will start the another important periodic property, which is electronegativity. We are very familiar with electronegativity because we frequently use in every topic electronegativity concept. Electronegativity. What is electronegativity? It is denoted with En. It is a property property of bonded atom. First of all, it is a property of bonded atom. For a single atom, electronegativity cannot be defined. It will be always defined in the bonded state. This is the first thing you need to understand. And how it is defined? It is the tendency of bonded atom. It is the tendency of bonded atom to attract the bond pair of electron towards itself is called as, this tendency of attracting the bond pair of electron towards the atom is called as electronegativity of that particular atom. And it is basically represented with charge. This is a symbol which is used to denote the electronegativity. Right? Now, if you are talking about the factors that affects electronegativity, what is the first factor we can say? The first factor we can say that size. Electronegativity will be inversely proportional to size. As the size increases, electronegativity increases. As the size decreases, electronegativity increases. The second factor we can say Z effect. Electronegativity will be directly proportional to Z effect, right? And the third factor we can say number of inner shell electrons. Number of inner shells or number of inner shell electrons. Here, electronegativity is inversely proportional to number of inner shells or inner shell electrons. As the number of inner shell electrons increases, that means number of shells are increasing. That means atomic size is increasing. So electronegativity decreases. Right? The fourth factor will be oxidation number of atom or ion. Here, as the oxidation state of the ion increases, electronegativity will be directly proportional to the oxidation number. For example, if you are talking about Fe plus 2, Fe plus 2. Among these three pairs, which is more electronegative species, this Fe plus 3 will be more electronegative species. As the oxidation number increases, what happens? Z effect increases. With increase in the Z effect, what happens? Electronegativity increases. Right? This is one of the factors which can increase the electronegativity. And the next factor is that hybridization. Hybridization state. This is you may have already studied in the case. Electronegativity will be directly proportional to percentage of S character. As the percentage of S character increases, electronegativity increases. For example, if you are talking about ethane, ethene, and ethyl, among these three, here hybridization of carbon is sp3, here it is sp2, here it is sp. That means what? In this sp3 hybridized orbital, percentage of S is 75, here it is 33, here it is 50. As the percentage S character increases, so what we can say? Left to right, electronegativity of the carbon is increasing. These are the factors which generally what happens? Affects the electronegativity. Now we are talking about the trends in electronegativity. First of all, let us see periods. In periods, what is expected? In periods, left to right, generally what happens? Electronegativity increases as Z effect increases. Fluorine is generally electronegativity of zero group elements, noble gas elements is considered as zero. This is the thing you need to remember. And fluorine is the element having highest electronegativity in the periodic table, and cesium is the having lowest electronegativity in the periodic. Correct? Along the left to right in the period, electronegativity increases. And if you are talking in groups, top to bottom, what happens? Top to bottom, size increases. With increase in the size, what happens? Electronegativity decreases. And important exception to be remembered that gallium and germanium are having more electronegativity than aluminum and silicon respectively. Down the road, generally what should be observed? Here aluminum is expected to have the more electronegativity than gallium, and silicon is expected to have the more electronegativity than the germanium, but they are both to be less. That is the reason for this is generally say transition compression. These are the few exceptions that are associated with the electronegativity. And we will see the applications of electronegativity. Let's see the applications of electronegativity. There are some important applications of this electronegativity. If you are talking, before application, we will see the scales. There are different scales to express the electronegativity. Scales of electronegativity. First, generally we use most widely used scale is Pauling scale. We are very familiar with this. Pauling has calculated electronegativity from bond energies. Suppose if you take a bond between A and B, right? If you want to calculate the electronegativity of A and B, according to Pauling, he has calculated these values by using a relation 0.208 root delta. Here, delta is polarity of bond between A and B. Right? Here, delta is generally given in the form of EAB minus 1/2 of EAA plus EBB. This is the formula of delta. If you see the terms here involved here, basically EAB will be equal to bond energy of AB, and EA is equal to bond energy of AA, and EBB is equal to bond energy of B and B. When you have to use this formula, important thing here, chi A is electronegativity of atom A, and chi B is electronegativity of atom B. This formula is available when delta value is in kilocalories per mole. If the delta value is taken in kilojoules per mole, the relation will become 0.12 root delta. This value has to be used when delta value is kilojoules per mole. In Pauling scale, the electronegativity varies from 0.7 to 4. Actually, it is 3.8. This is the lowest electronegativity which is observed in case of cesium. This is the highest electronegativity which is observed in case of fluorine. The variation of electronegativity and Pauling scale will lie from 0.7 to 4. This is cesium and this is fluorines. Right? Now, an important thing to be noted on this, in the periodic table, alkali metals are having lowest electronegativity, and halogens are having highest electronegativity. Fluorine is having highest electronegativity, and second most electronegative atom will be oxygen. Right? Now, if you are talking about the second scale, which is called as Mulligan scale, and Mulligan has calculated the electronegativity from the ionization energy as well as ionization potential, radiation energy, and electron affinity. Yes, calculated. This is the electronegativity and Mulligan scale. Yes, calculated the electronegativity by the average of ionization potential and electron negativity. An important thing is that the Mulligan scale is 2.8 times greater than the electronegativity on Mulliken scale will be 2.8 times greater than Pauling scale. Pauling scale. So electronegativity on Pauling scale will be equal to Ip plus Ea, that is ionization potential and electronegativity upon electron affinity 2 into 2.8, which will become equal to Ip plus Ea upon 5.6. This is the Mulliken scale. And there is one more scale which is called as Allred-Rochow scale. According to him, electronegativity can be calculated by using a relation 0.359 into ZF upon R square plus 0.744, where ZF is effective nuclear charge and R square is the radius of the atom whose electronegativity is being measured. These are the different scales to measure the electronegativity. Hope it is clear so far. Let us see the applications of electronegativity. There are some important applications of electronegativity. If we are talking about the applications, electronegativity. The first application is metallic and non-metallic nature. Non-metallic nature depends upon the electronegativity. Metallic and non-metallic nature. Metallic nature, non-metallic nature. Metallic nature is directly proportional to electronegativity. As the electronegativity increases, non-metallic nature increases, and metallic nature will be inversely proportional to the electronegativity. That means if the electronegativity decreases, metallic nature increases. Because of that reason only, when you are moving down in a group in a period, the metallic nature increases and non-metallic nature decreases. When you are moving left to right in a period, what happens? This is the radiation. If you are talking in periods, what happens generally? Left to right. What happens? Electronegativity increases. So that what happens? Non-metallic nature increases. Non-metallic nature increases. And metallic nature decreases. Because what happens? This is what we have seen. When you are talking about the group, top to bottom, electronegativity what happens? Decreases. So it will become reverse. Non-metallic nature decreases and metallic nature increases. And the second important factor is nature of bond, or we can say polarity of the bond is basically decided by electronegativity. If you are talking about a bond between A and B, whether this bond is going to be ionic bond or covalent bond or whether polar covalent bond, that will depend upon the electronegativity difference. If the electronegativity difference of A and B, where Xa is the electronegativity of A, Chi is the electronegativity of A, and Chi B is the electronegativity of B. If the electronegativity of these two is 0, this bond will be what? Purely covalent. What is this? This bond will be purely covalent. If electronegativity of Xc and Xp is equal to 1.6, now this bond will be having 50% of covalent character and 50% of anion character. This is an important application of electronegativity. If the electronegativity difference of A and B is less than 1.6, this bond will be having more than 50%. More than 50% will be covalent character and less than 50% will be anion character. If electronegativity difference of A and B is greater than 1.6, it will be having less than 50% of covalent character and more than 50% of anion character. So nature of a bond will depend upon the electronegativity difference of the bonded atoms. And the next thing is that we can see nature of oxides. Nature of oxides also depends upon the electronegativity. If the electronegativity of oxide increases, it becomes acidic in nature. If electronegativity of oxide decreases, it will become basic. These are the some applications of electronegativity. There are a few more periodic properties which we briefly discussed. Not going to that, they are not very important. First of all, if you are talking about, next one is valence. What is valence? It is actually called binding capacity of an element, which can be expressed with respect to hydrogen or with respect to oxygen. Suppose if I am talking about the valency of first group, second group, third group, 13th group, 14th group, 15th group, 16th group and 17th group, right? With respect to hydrogen, the valency will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you are talking 18th group, it will be 0. Like they can, these elements of first group, that is sodium, lithium, can form only one group. Magnesium will form 2 hydrogen, can combine with 2 hydrogens, and aluminum can combine with 3, and silicon can combine with 4, phosphorus can combine with 3, sulfur can combine with 2, and chlorine can combine with 9. These are UC. Right? If you are talking with respect to oxygen, their balances will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With respect to oxygen, these are their balances. If you are talking about first group, it will be sodium oxide, magnesium oxide, aluminium oxide, silicon oxide, SO3, Cl2O2, Cl2O7 and HCO4. These are the balances of. And next important property is oxidation state. What is oxidation state? It is the number of electrons lost or gained by an atom, or it would be the charge if the number of electrons are gained or lost by an atom. There are variable oxidation states. If you are talking about the S block elements will exhibit the fixed oxidation state. First group 1 elements will exhibit +1, group 2 elements will exhibit +2 oxidation state. These are fixed, +1, +2. If you are talking about the P block elements, they exhibit variable oxidation state. Their oxidation states are variable. Suppose if you are talking about group 30, it will exhibit 2 oxidation states. Other plus, it will be either 1 or it can be +3 or it can be +1 or +3. Basically, in case of lower elements, it will be +3 and higher elements it will be +2. Like this, there are different. If you are talking about group 14, this will be 14. Group 15 will be at exhibit -3 to +5. The variable oxidation state will exist. If you are talking about the D block elements also exhibits variable oxidation state. Variable oxidation state. That means more than one oxidation state they will exhibit. And if you are talking about the transition element in 3D series, highest oxidation state exhibited by manganese, which is +7. In 4D series, it will be ruthenium, that is +8. And if you are talking about the 5D, it will be osmium, which will be +8. These are the highest oxidation state possible in the periodic table. Right? It is about the oxidation state. Another important property which we frequently come in the discussion of periodic properties are nature of oxides. Nature of oxides. What is meant by oxides? The binary compounds of elements with oxygen is called as oxides. There are 4 types of oxides. They can be basic oxides, or acidic oxides, or amphoteric oxides, or neutral oxides. What is meant by basic oxides? Which can produce alkaline nature in water or OH in water. Basically, metal oxides are basic oxides. These are all basic oxides. Basically, non-metal oxides. Suppose if you are talking SO3, P2O5, Cl2O7, these are all acidic oxides. Oxides of non-metals are generally what happens? Acidic in nature. And amphoteric oxides, such as here Al2O3 or antimonic oxide or zinc oxide. These are the oxides which can exhibit both acidic nature as well as basic nature. These are the oxides which will not exhibit neither acidic nature or basic nature. They will be neutral. The examples of these are nitric oxide as well as carbon monoxide. These are neutral oxides. Now we are talking about the periodicity and the nature of oxides. When you are moving left to right in a period, generally what happens? Non-metallic nature increases. Non-metallic nature increases, so that what we can say, acidic nature of oxides increases. When you are moving left to right in a period, what happens? Acidic nature of oxides increases. Because of that reason, halogen oxides are more acidic in nature. And when you are going top to to bottom in a group, what happens? Metallic nature increases. Metallic nature increases. So that what we can say? Basic nature increases. Left to right in a period, acidic nature increases. Top to bottom in a period, what happens? Basic nature increases. This can also be applicable for electropositive nature or metallic nature. Metallic nature in the sense, tendency of losing electron will increases from top to down in a group, and left to right decreases. Right? These are some periodic properties. Right? Some other periodic properties if you want to discuss: reducing nature and oxidizing nature. What is meant by reducing nature? Right? Which can reduce other species which can reduce others will be called as reducing agent. The species which can oxidize others will be called as oxidizing nature. Here, in periods left to right, what happens? Oxidizing nature increases. Oxidizing nature, tendency of oxidizing nature increases. In groups top to bottom. In groups top to bottom, what happens? Reducing nature increases. Reducing nature. Otherwise, what you can say? Left to right in a group, what happens? Reducing nature. Reducing nature, what happens? Decreases. And top to bottom in a group, what happens? What happens here? Top to bottom in a group, oxidizing nature decreases. Right? These are some periodic properties which we generally discuss the periodic table. Right? Now, let us see variation of various properties. Here we talk about the properties and the trend in along the period, trend in period and trend in group. Briefly we will discuss. We are talking about atomic radius. What happens? Left to right in a period, top to bottom in a group. What happens? Decreases. Top to down increases. Right? Ionization energy, left to right increases, top to down decreases. Electron affinity, left to right increases, top to down decreases. Electron negativity, left to right increases, top to down decreases. And metallic nature, left to right decreases, top to down increases. Non-metallic nature, what happens to non-metallic nature? Left to right increases, top to down decreases. And reducing nature, left to right decreases, top to down increases. And oxidizing nature, left to right increases, top to down decreases. Electropositive nature, what happens? Left to right decreases, top to down increases. This is a variation of some periodic properties across the periods and across the along the groups. Hope it is clear so far.